Do you know that pendulums can be used to measure the magnetic field or biofield of people and things and water? You might know this because you know that gas engineers and water engineers, they use dowsing rods and pendulums like this to find sources of water. Now, what are they finding in the water? It's not like they're not looking for H2O, they're looking for vortexes. And everything in the universe is made of vortexes. Because you've got magnetic fields everywhere and you can measure them. They're either neutral and they're in balance, or they've got a field that's going clockwise or anti-clockwise, and that represents the charge of the field. So the way that I do this is here's a glass of water here, and I know this has got tap water in, and tap water, it's got lots of toxins in, and it tends to have a bioforce field that is going anti-clockwise. Now I'll show you how I feel for this. So this is how I hold my pendulum between my fingers. It's copper, so it's very sensitive. So if I don't think about it, right, because these fields are very subtle, and I just push it over, it's just going to feel like nothing. So you have to get your hands used to the sensitivity of the fields that you're wanting to test. So I'll hold it out a little bit of a way here, and I'll put my intention and I'll focus on my fingertips and what this feels like. So I'll take my attention away from my feet, what I'm thinking about, what I want for dinner, because I need to focus on this because this is very subtle. And as I move it close, I will feel a field, which I can feel here. You'll feel some resistance, and as you'll get over the resistance, you'll then end up in the middle of a vortex field. So that's what it feels like. So this is to get you used to. You might not be able to do this at first, and you practice putting it over things and you'll see. So I can measure where this field is, and it's like resistance, go over. Now my job is to figure out which direction is it going. Now, I have done this before, so I know, but I'm going to teach you a few different ways to do this. Some people hold their pendulums down here and they're doing this. The reason why they're doing this is they're trying to feel whether the direction of spin of the pendulum is going with the field or against the field. And I don't mind that method, that's absolutely fine, but it isn't very good for convincing people because people can see you spinning it. And this is why I want people to learn how to do this, because you realise when you do this, it either feels weird, I can't describe it any other way, and you feel resistance, or it feels like this is a natural way for it to go. But the way that I like to do this when I'm demonstrating, which I've done to hundreds of people, I've done this, blinded, so I don't know what I'm testing. The best way to do this, I feel, is to let this gain a spin, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So as I hold it over here, I've got to remember, where is this vortex starting from? Is it here? Is it here? And you imagine this is a vortex spin, but it's around this edge, right? So if I go too far in, it's hard to pick up that field. You've got to lift it up a little bit where the vortex is going to be. The other thing that you have to pay attention to is you're not trying to keep it still. This is what some people do. They see it start to spin and automatically they're like, oh, I'm supposed to keep my hand still. And they literally don't even realise it, but they're doing subtle movements to turn it the opposite way around to what it's supposed to be going, right? So it doesn't move. Now, some fields don't move because, as I said, they've got a balanced vortex, and you can't measure it. It's just like, it's balanced. It's not doing anything. So as I push this in, I can feel this here again every time, so I'm getting confident at this now. I'm going, oh. And what I did to practice this at first is I tested different types of water under different conditions and started to see the difference. And then you just become kind of used to it, and you know what your body starts to realise what it's looking for, so it becomes more sensitive. So when I put this in here, there's two ways to do this now. I can hold this pendulum and wait for it to start to spin. See, it's just settling down. See, it's got this anti-clockwise spin, and it'll get, I'm trying not to breathe and talk because I'll change it. So I'm just letting it catch the vortex and it will just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because there's an invisible vortex. It's made of magnetic waves. See? Another way of doing this is if you're not sure, especially when you start out, I wanted people to double check my work and all this kind of stuff. One way you can do is you can start spinning it one way just to see whether it stops or carries on. So I'm going to spin this clockwise and see what happens. It stops. And then it'll start to pick up the field again. And it will go the right way. And there we go. That's one way of doing it. If a field isn't very strong, I know this is tap water, it's usually exactly like this. It's a very strong anti-clockwise, which is not good for you field. And it's very strong. If it's a very weak field and this isn't starting to get going, just give it a little start, little touch, and then hold it still, and then it will gain momentum. And if it doesn't and it starts to slow down, then you need to spin it the other way, because that's probably the way that it's going. So this is what we do to test fields. And of course, I'm not going to be sitting here and doing something that hasn't been tested by other people, and we get people in rows, we all test the same water, we all check that, you know, our results, etc. So I'm very confident about this. I haven't done this for years. And this is just a chance just to show what our quantum water chargers do. It will change the field. You'll see an entropy change, and the change will change the magnetic spin because we're putting a frequency in this water. Have a look at Dan Winter's if you want to know more about this kind of science. I'm not saying it specifically describes exactly what we're doing, but we're talking quantum spin here, and this is kind of a lot of new stuff that people are getting their heads around. Anyway, all I need to do is spray a little bit to this water. Ooh, and you can feel a field change if you're very energy sensitive, and we get people tell us this. So I've changed the field of this water. So I go in, I can feel a field here, feel this resistance. Oh, it's actually much stronger. You can just feel it. And I'll leave it over there, wait for it to do something, try not to breathe. I'm trying to show you that I'm not moving my hands. There we are. Just took me a bit of time to get going. So have a bit of patience. Oh, there it goes. Once it catches the field, it goes like billy-o. See, it's going the opposite direction. And this is what these do. This is what we do quantumly. This is called quantum water charger. It's got high vibrations of nature in. It resonates with the own frequencies in your own fields, because you are nature. You are source, you are nature, and that is the same frequencies taken from nature to resonate within you. And when anything you get, whenever you get two frequencies that are the same, they'll resonate, and it means they join together and make it much stronger. The amplitude is much bigger, and that's why you see a bigger field. So we've changed the direction of spin of the hydrogen atoms in this water, and that's why we're seeing a change of the field, because it's got these frequencies in. I hope you find that interesting. Please leave comments if you've been working with dowsing rods and pendulums before. And we don't want to tell you, I don't want people on here saying, oh, but you're moving your hands and this, that and the other. It's like, it doesn't really matter what you think. I want you to go and try this for yourself with an open mind if you want to learn. You don't want to learn, it's fine. These are the people that do. Much love.